offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
This is the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Brandon Rhymes is out today. My name is James DeJerome. I'm the executive producer of the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team. We have grouped a bunch of business owners together and formed a team, and these guys come on our show and provide information to you out there, making you a stronger consumer, making your dollar go farther in the marketplace. So our partners are going to come on the show today and provide some information. In addition, we have great sponsors on the Consumer Quarterback Show. One of our sponsors is Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. We talk about Jade all the time. She runs her own business. Her whole family is in Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. They do a great job for Brandon. Of course, cleaning is imperative in the real estate business. Lots of homes and properties to prepare, and Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning goes out of their way to provide that service for Brandon and all the properties he has. Great family-owned business, minority-owned business. Jade and her kids, what a great job they do. Check them out. Anytime you need cleaning done, it's Jade's Premium Quality Cleaning. Okay, and we've got some properties, of course. Brandon is with the Keller Williams team. He owns Platinum MVP Realty, and we always got some properties for you, even in this time of scarcity. He's got one for you at 1010 Bay Esplanade in Clearwater Beach. This one's a 4-3 with a 2-car garage, private apartment, and a sun deck. 1010 Bay Esplanade, 3,150 square feet. It's got those beautiful white cabinets in the kitchen that our about-face cabinetry expert Chris Robinson's talking about, the new look everybody wants. That's at 1010 Bay Esplanade in Clearwater Beach. Give Brandon a call if you want to check that one out. And let's see one more. We got 1314 Alternate Highway 19 in Holiday. This is 2,600 square feet. It's a commercial building. It's a 40-year-old daycare. The lease back available. It's a huge double lot. So if you're interested in a space like that, a commercial building with a possible business, and it's a huge double lot. So 1314 Alternate Highway 19 in Holiday. Again, the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Brandon's got everything you need in terms of your real estate needs, even in this time of scarcity. Okay, so Brandon and the MVP team is going to handle the real estate side. You may need homeowners insurance. Our insurance expert, Doug Levi, is joining us on the phone today. Doug is with Strategic. Doug, how you doing today?
James, great to be on the show. Good to be here.
Thanks so much for joining us. You always bring us great knowledge. I know last time you were on, we talked a little bit about where the rates are going to go because of our active hurricane season. What are your feelings lately, even though we've had another storm come through since the last time you were on?
Yeah, it seems like we're definitely in this little bit of this cycle for sure, and hurricane season seems to be going out with a punch. We just had last week Hurricane Delta hit up in the Louisiana area again, so our thoughts and prayers to people up in that area. We may have some listeners up there, who knows, but that Delta, I just read a report this morning, they're projecting that the insured losses could be well over $1.2 billion. So we see some of these numbers in the headlines, and they are just such large numbers.
Yeah,
I think sometimes they are, and I think sometimes we take it, I don't want to say take it for granted, but we see a large number and we kind of read it and move on.
Doug, I saw a figure for the storm season this year in U.S. dollars, $22 billion already in emergency relief needed.
There you go, right? So, and this year has set all kinds of records, right? Most active year, most landfalls for major storms. I think 9 or 10 actually hit the U.S. As named storms, right? Now, we've had 3 majors with Laura, Sally, and Delta, but if we've got a tropical storm or tropical depression, anything that's named still counts. So it's been quite a year. So our takeaway is always to our listeners out there is be proactive, not reactive, right?
Right.
You can check us out at TampaBayInsurance.com. We would love to do a protection review your homeowner's insurance. We have been seeing rate increases. I've been in this insurance industry for 17 years. I've owned our agency here. We're one of the top 25 agencies as listed by the Tampa Business Journal here locally for 14 years. We're seeing tremendous rate increases across the market, and so it's really imperative for people to be aware and to shop, to call an agency like ours and let us do a good review for you.
Absolutely, because even if you undertake a review your own insurance policy and you feel like there's a little bit more protection you'd need, you can't just go out and get that flood insurance right now for tomorrow.
Sure. Yeah, very, very, very true, James. So really, you're mentioning on flood insurance, something we, especially during hurricane season, I mean, we recommend to our clients throughout the year, but it's more in people's minds this time of year because of what we see in the news.
Right.
The big takeaway with flood insurance is if you don't have flood insurance now and you want a flood insurance policy, especially if it's outside of a closing, it's a 30-day wait. So even if you want a policy today, it wouldn't be effective till November. So it's always better, again, to be on the front end of things rather than the back end of things.
100%, as you said, proactive. And imagine 30 days, it may seem like a small amount of time, but in the last 30 days, I think we've had 3 different hurricanes come through.
Yeah, exactly. So if you took my advice a month or two ago, you're in good shape. If not, do it now. That's the big one. And flood insurance is a big one because a lot of people think that they may not be in a flood zone, even areas here in Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
I live in Brandon. I live in Valrico. I'm in the highest part of the county. We've heard it all over the years. All the research out there shows about 30% of all floods can occur in non-flood zones. Okay. And Florida is just a very prone area. We're very flat. We're surrounded by water. We've faced more storms historically than any other state. So it's in my opinion, an important investment. And flood insurance policies, if you're not in a quote-unquote flood zone, we still strongly recommend it. And those policies run anywhere from $250 to $500 a year. So relatively speaking, you're talking maybe a little more than $1 a day to protect one of your biggest assets in your home.
And Doug, help me out. Exactly specifying what caused the damage from a storm, whether it's flood or wind-related in terms of hurricane. There's some details that need to be worked out. So the flood insurance thing is something that is definitely something that provide you some reassurance in case you have a situation with a hurricane, even if it's water damage.
Yeah, well put. So flood insurance is defined as rising water over one or more property or one or more acres. So you think about you're in your home and you see a water line on your drywall. It is a traditional way of thinking of flood, which is different than a pipe breaks and causes a flood in my home. That is traditionally covered under your homeowners. Flood insurance is this rapidly rising water. And I think what you may be alluding to, James, and which comes up a lot, is people think, well, I'm going to get coverage for flooding based on my homeowners because if I have wind damage, I'm going to have water damage.
Right.
And time again, the courts have upheld that is not the case, that for you to get flood insurance coverage, you need a flood insurance policy. And so, in my opinion, I always tell people, look, you're best off to have it. You're going to get covered one way or another. If you don't have the flood insurance, that's where you really run that risk of, again, maybe you did have pretty significant damage, but it really meets more of the guidelines of a flood than traditional wind damage, and you run the risk of not having the coverage. And that's an important factor.
Absolutely. In terms of your house and your homeowner's insurance, what modifications have you seen that provide some relief or things that you can do as a homeowner that, other than purchasing additional insurance, that will affect your policy, you might encourage them to do, just like you always come on and encourage folks with UM in terms of their motorist coverage. It's not mandatory, but man, it's something you really should have.
So a couple of things. We definitely would recommend things like replacement cost on contents. That's one I see a lot of times that clients don't have. And basically that means, James, that they're going to buy you your contents cost new. They're not going to depreciate. They're not going to say, well, your furniture's 10 years old, and while it may cost you $3,000 to go buy new living room furniture today, it's really only worth $500. And while that does save you some money on your policy, when you have a claim, obviously that's where you see a big drawback.
Correct.
The other one I would say is liability. You would definitely want to make sure you have at least $300,000 of liability. Again, sometimes we see people that have $100,000, very small price difference there. On the positive side, are things that people can look for that can actually help lower your rate, would be looking to increase your deductibles, right? So we try and strike this balance of cost and coverage. That's always our balancing act, and every situation and family and needs are different. But in general, with insurance, the higher the deductible, the lower the premium. And so you may be able to go from, say, a $1,000 deductible to a $2,500 deductible and maybe save $300 to $400 a year. So if you're a family and you feel you're okay and you could self-insure that amount, do it and to get those cost savings each year.
I got you. So that's something where you talk about that rate or that policy review. There's constantly some decisions you can make in terms of changing that deductible when you feel like it's appropriate or trying to help yourself in the situation that might arise.
Yeah, there's almost always some positive things that we can do regardless of rate increases. And again, an agency like ours, we have over 19 companies. So when you come to us, we do a policy review and market comparison where we basically take a look at where you're at right now, and then we bid it out to 19 different companies to make sure you're getting best rates and coverage. If we can find another carrier that's a good carrier with a better rate, it's kind of a no-brainer. We can make that switch.
Gotcha.
And the other thing that we also do is make sure you're properly insured. The amount of coverage you pick on your home is a really big decision. So you want to make sure that you're properly covered on your home. You don't want to be overinsured, and you sure don't want to be underinsured. And so it's important that you get your eyes on things like that. And then all these other little things are just part of our process, right? Talking to people about deductibles, replacement costs, liability, some of these different options we go through with our clients just to make sure that we're striking that right balance between cost and coverage.
Well, I can imagine when I talk about replacement costs and not only thinking about what you paid for your home, but what materials currently cost and what they may cost in the future, there's some variable in those numbers that you need to really take a look at and make sure you're in a good position.
There's no doubt. And, I frankly seen over my career, most people want less and less expensive. I get that, right? I'd say I don't want to overpay for my insurance. I don't know anyone that does, but the takeaway is you don't want to kind of cut into the bone, right? If you go too low, that's where you really can be vulnerable with penalties from the insurance company. There's something known as co-insurance penalties. I'm not going to get into all that right now, but
okay.
It's simple to say if you underinsure too much, you get penalized from the company. And then the reality is if you do have a claim and you need that coverage, you're not going to have the proper coverage, and then you're going to be out of pocket on that. And then the last part, and we've seen it before when we've had storms in our areas, it's a supply and demand issue, right? So right now, in some of these areas like Louisiana and the Panhandle, I'm sure the cost of labor has gone way up because there's so much demand. There may be a shortage on lumber. There may be a shortage on certain building materials, which is just going to drive prices up. So I tell people you don't want to be way overinsured. Maybe a 10% cushion over what you need, that's probably not a bad idea, or a little bit more, so that you've got a little bit of a cushion should there be a major catastrophe, which pushes prices up immediately.
Right. Scarcity is something you cannot necessarily predict because it could be from a unique item. Who saw
no doubt.
hand sanitizer as a scarce item 2 years ago?
Yeah,
I never would have thought that.
So toilet paper and Clorox wipes and all these things that we would never a year ago have thought, right? It's that is a very practical one. And look, it can be hard in good times to find reliable and good contractors and things like that, but there's no doubt during those times of a lot of damage from windstorms or hurricanes, it can be even more, and those prices can be reflected in that very quickly.
Boy, we're talking to Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance. Doug, you offer folks a chance to get their policy reviewed?
We absolutely do. So we offer, and we even do something called our $27 Amazon gift card offer. We basically offer people $27 Amazon gift card for the opportunity to help review their home and auto insurance. So it's a great opportunity, again, for us to look and see. Hopefully we can put you in a better spot or make some recommendations that are going to help you. And as an opportunity to say thank you for that opportunity to provide you our client services, we give a $27 gift card. So happy to help any of the listeners out there with that.
A very cool offer. And if you could, just briefly touch on the side hustle opportunity as well, Doug.
Yeah, so we started about a year ago, and we've got something called InsuranceSideHustling.com, and we've had about 75 people come through. It's been really, really fun. We've got probably about 30 to 40 active, and really what we're helping people do, James, is get into the insurance business, doing home and auto insurance part-time, doing home and auto insurance sales part-time. So we kind of start with the standpoint that you're in an industry that everyone needs and already budgets for. We help and show people how to get licensed. We help provide all the service, the infrastructure, the support. We teach them how to market, how to get business. And it's been a really great program. So people that are looking to put a little extra income in their pocket, or maybe are disenfranchised with their main job and are looking to start something else that's on their own for them, great opportunity. So people can check us out at InsuranceSideHustling.com.
Now, the other side of Tampa Bay Insurance as well, if they want to check you out, huh?
Yeah, and then our main agency website is TampaBayInsurance.com, and on there you can fill out your info, request an actual review. There's lots of ways to connect with us. We actually have a feature, too, where you can, right on that website, on our TampaBayInsurance.com site, James, you've got an option to literally put your phone number in to either receive a text or call from one of our team members. So we just added that feature a few months ago, which has been getting a lot of great response.
Nice.
So
all right.
We try to do a lot of things to be as consumer-friendly as possible, and make the process of insurance, which we know is not the most fun thing. We try to make it as easy as possible and really add a lot of value to our clients and prospective clients out there.
Absolutely. He is our insurance expert on the Consumer Quarterback Show, Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance. Please get in touch with Doug. Check out your policy. Make sure you're prepared because he wants you to be proactive and not run into any surprises out there, as do we do. Thanks so much, Doug.
James, always great being here. Shout
all
out
right.
to all the listeners, and we'll look forward to talking to you guys soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. That's Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance. Coming up, Jason Kobal of Kobal Law is going to join us. Local attorney, always has great content for us on the program. And, of course, you can always check us out and check out all our partners at consumerqb.com. Binge Network, search Binge Networks if you want to check us out online. And, of course, every weekday, 4 p.m., AM 860, right here from our Salem Media Group studios. Come on back and check out the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
That's right, consumerqb.com is where you can find all the partners on the Consumer Quarterback Show and find out some information about Brandon and the Keller Williams team at Platinum MVP. Of course, part of our team is our sponsors. We've got a bunch of great sponsors on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Golf Cart Depot is the one I want to talk about right now because Golf Cart Depot has come on lately and been really strong for us. Brandon has a golf cart from Golf Cart Depot. He's everywhere with it. He's got the dogs in it. His kids are riding in it. They're doing business. They're having fun on the weekends. A golf cart nowadays, it seems like it's for everything. Everyone's got one for different. There's all makes and models, all different styles, recreational, business, whatever you want to do. Golf Cart Depot and Discovery Golf Carts, Tampa Clearwater, discoverygolfcars.com. Check them out, and they definitely can do anything that you need done. They'll customize it for you. Discovery Golf Carts, what a good sponsor for the Consumer Quarterback Show. As always, Brandon, again, owns the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. We're going to show some properties for you, even in this time of scarcity with Bay Area real estate. Brandon's got real estate for you. We've got one at 2528 Appaloosa Trail in Palm Harbor, 2,278 square feet. It's a 4-3 with a 3-car garage. It's a 3-year-old roof, so it just got started. Beautiful kitchen renovation. Again, just like our buddy at About Face Cabinetry, Chris Robinson, tells us, the new look is white in the kitchen. So white cabinets all over, really looking sharp. Big pool area. 2528 Appaloosa Trail in Palm Harbor. Get in touch with Brandon and the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. He'll show that one for you. He's got another one for you at 3405 Gray Whetstone Street in Brandon. It's a 4-2 with a 2-car garage on a cul-de-sac. Price recently reduced, 2,160 square feet. Again, beautiful inside. Floors are redone. Everything's white, pristine, white cabinetry. Everything looks sharp in there. That's a brand new looking property at 3405 Gray Whetstone Street in Brandon. It's a 4-3 again. The Platinum MV team, Keller Williams Realty. Get in touch with Brandon if you're interested in financing real estate. All right, as we spoke earlier with Doug Levi, our insurance expert from Strategic Insurance, gave us some good tips. Jason Kobal is going to join us now from Kobal Law. Jason, what's going on out there?
Well, I actually have good news today.
Okay.
I just read the state statistics for workers' comp claims and the amount of money that's been spent on benefits and the number of claims. And I could guarantee you that next year would be the year, if you have a business and you never got workers' comp for your employees before, next year is definitely the year you want to abide by the law. If you have 4 more employees, because the premiums are going to be lower than ever. Because this year, the amount of spending, it is unbelievable how little we spent this year compared to other years. And there's, obvious reasons why.
Sure.
But, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. In 2019, we spent $1.2 billion on workers' comp benefits for the whole year. This year, granted it's October, 2 months left, but $175 million.
Wow.
And that's a huge difference. So we're on pace to be at like 25% of what we usually would spend in a year on workers' comp benefits.
So tell me, Jason, you said if you're a business owner out there and you have 4 or more employees, and perhaps it just wasn't financially possible, and it's been illegal, you've been operating illegally, this is the chance to jump back in.
Exactly. I always recommend that, obviously you follow the law.
Sure.
Because if you're unfortunate enough where one of your employees does get hurt and you should have had coverage, I mean, I hate those cases when they come in, but, I got to do what I got to do, and
Right.
I have to go after the business owner. And then you end up getting fined by the state. You could get your business shut down. So you definitely want to do that no matter what. But now's the time because especially next year, the rates are going to be probably dropping quite a bit.
Okay. That's good news out there. So if you're a business owner and you can't find a silver lining in this COVID thing, maybe Jason found a little something for you.
Yes. Yeah. I always try to find a silver lining. And,
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the reasons why it was so low, and I'm looking at other statistics that kind of didn't make sense at first, but then I thought about it, and it did. Like, for example, I could see the total amount being down because of the lockdown,
Right.
but they give the statistics. The average settlement is down. It's usually about $20,000 per case. This year it's $12,000. The average amount spent per case on medical is down. And I was thinking, I'm like, why would that be down?
Wow, that doesn't
and
make...
that's $9,000, and it's usually about $18,000 per case. And it's amazing all the factors that came into play this year. The lockdown,
Right.
social distancing. There's probably less accidents when people are staying away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then, with everybody losing their job for COVID layoffs, a lot of people don't like to report accidents when they're in fear of losing the job.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, a lot of factors that came. And then, of course, there was limits on what kind of surgeries you could get for a while there. And even, people not going to the doctor because they're worried about leaving their house and getting COVID.
Wow, so a number of factors out there. Of course, the lockdown and the shutdown, this 2020 has been an incredibly different year for everybody and every business and schools, and everyone's adjusting. And I think it's the adapters who can find a silver lining or some positive way to spin that. You've got to really look hard. I know it's tough, but I didn't see that coming. See, I wouldn't have anticipated a change in insurance rates or change in like Doug mentioned, or you with this opportunity for business owners to bring greater coverage to their workers' comp. Again, you got to go out there and look or get in touch with one of our partners, a professional like Jason or like Doug, and find out if there is an opportunity for savings or a way that you can spin this positively. Jason, have you had any particular cases in court lately? I know it's the court system's a little shook up because of this COVID thing.
Yeah, well, I believe I mentioned on one of the last shows I was on that I did have a Zoom, one that went all the way to trial.
Oh, that's right.
It was done by Zoom. I didn't really like that. but no, my big case that's going on now, which isn't really mine at this point, it's being handled by this an appellate firm, but one of my bill cases, I go after medical providers that bill workers' comp injured workers knowingly, because that's illegal. You're not supposed to ever bill somebody who's covered by workers' comp because they don't owe the money, the carrier does.
Right.
And it gets violated all the time. But I filed a complaint versus a particular defendant, and when I was doing the discovery and litigating the matter, I realized that it was a systemic problem, meaning didn't just happen to my client, but happened to pretty much everybody they encountered who were injured workers. So I referred it over to a class action firm, and right now it's sitting before the Supreme Court of Florida. We won at the District Court of Appeal level, so hopefully the Supreme Court doesn't reverse it.
Yeah.
But right now they're looking at that case as a matter of public importance. It's Davis versus Sheridan Healthcare.
We'll get into a little bit more when we get back from the break. Jason Kobal, Kobal Law. He's one of our partners on the Consumer Quarterback Show. As you can see, he's very active in our community. He's got great tips for you. Come on back and check us out on the Consumer Quarterback Show.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Yeah, I'm just going to let Chuck in.
Hey, Jason, can you hear me?
Yes.
He was just saying he just to stand by a second, they're letting in another guest into the building right now.
Sure.
Portion of the state anymore.
No, might be going back up next week, but doesn't look like it at the moment. We got some guys up there. They're handling that, so we'll see.
All right, Jose. Chuck is in the chair, so we're ready to go for him. You still got Jason?
I do.
All right,
Yep.
So we're going to do another 8 with Jason, and then we'll go to Chuck.
Yeah.
I just need
Cool.
Chuck to give me a quick mic check.
Chuck, slide up there a little bit and talk for them, just so they're ready for you when it's time.
Hello.
Hey, Chuck.
Okay. All right, Johnny, then you tell us when. I'm ready. Okay. I think we're good, Jose.
Alrighty, everybody, please stand by.
Five, four, three, two, one.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
That's right. Give Brandon a call. He and the Platinum MVP team always have real estate for you. Anytime you need to know what the market's doing, give him a call. He's your economist of choice in the Bay Area. Of course, the Consumer Quarterback Show is a team. We've got plenty of partners that are going to come on and provide information for you. But don't forget about our sponsors, too. One of our longtime sponsors, one of the ones we've really enjoyed having, is the Bilmore Beach Resort. Clyde Smith comes on the show all the time from the Bilmore Beach Resort. Man, the Bilmore Beach Resort is not your typical hotel. It's not like a Hilton or a Radisson. It doesn't look the same as any other hotel. It's a very unique property, a boutique hotel. You know, he's got a restaurant, a lounge, a huge beach down there. About 80% of his rooms face the water. And if you want to get down there, check him out. Clyde always says call directly. Just call Clyde directly at the Bilmore Beach Resort. It's the best way to get your booking in there. Great staycation, great place to be, right in our area. It's a real jewel. I want you to check out the Bilmore Beach Resort. And of course, Brandon always has properties available for all our listeners. Again, he's the real estate expert in our area. The Platinum MVP team he owns with Keller Williams. He's got some properties for you. One is at 5510 South Elkins Avenue in Tampa. It's a zoned residential. It's a Ballast Point community, 12 minutes to downtown Tampa, 4 minutes to the yacht club. It's not going to last long because real estate is at a premium. As you know, 5510 South Elkins Ave in Tampa. If you're interested, give Brandon a call with the Platinum MVP team. What else you got for me, Johnny? Johnny's bring him another one, 6128 Oak Ridge Avenue in Newport Richey. This is a full acre, 4,000 square feet. It's a 4-4 right on the waterfront with bay access. That is a good-looking lot. Man, what a sharp property. New style flooring, crown molding, really good-looking kitchen. Give Brandon a call, 6128 Oak Ridge Avenue in Newport Richey, a full acre lot for you. Again, that's the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Of course, one of the things Brandon makes sure that I do is inject some positivity into your day. We got a feel-good story for you coming up. It's about a woman who started out being a janitor at a hospital. Now she's a nurse. So we're going to talk a little bit about her journey and give you some hope that no matter where you are, you can always get where you want to go. Before the break, we were talking with Jason Kobal from Kobal Law. He's our local legal expert here on the show. We were talking a little bit about workman's comp, and Jason had a case that he was discussing with us. Jason, refresh us a little bit.
Right. This is a situation where an injured worker was improperly or illegally billed for services they got at the hospital for their work-related injury. And it involves two laws. There's the consumer debt law that says you can't knowingly bill somebody for something that you know they don't owe.
Right.
And then there's the work comp law that says you cannot bill injured workers. So the problem that's really, really prevalent, in my opinion, and I've been handling cases for the last 5 years, astronomical numbers. It really happens probably about 50, 60% of the cases.
Right.
These medical providers, they know they're treating an injured worker, and they're billing them as opposed to the carrier. They're ruining their credit and whatnot. So one of the cases went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And hopefully they're going to affirm the lower court's decision so I can continue doing these cases.
Right.
But if any of the listeners out there had a workers' comp case and they received, even just getting the bill in the mail, it doesn't even have to be on your credit report, is a violation of your rights. So if anybody got billed during their comp case, give me a call and I could get them a statutory penalty for that of up to $1,000 per violation.
Now, Jason, there's this clerical error, then there's double billing, then there's fraud. I mean, there's a lot of spaces in between what you can do and can't do. What is your feelings of the majority of these? Are people trying to double bill, or what's the intent?
Oh boy, I tell you, I have strong opinions on this. These hospitals, they make a lot of money, but they're very disorganized. I don't know if it's disorganization or intentional, but boy, they seem to reach out to as many pots as they can to get paid. And if they happen to get paid twice, oh well. That's just my personal opinion. But and you're right. I actually had one of my cases that's going to a jury trial in Orlando. It started out as a workers' comp client of mine was billed, and then through the discovery of that case, we come to find out what he was billed for were services that weren't even ordered by the doctors. You can see in the medical records.
Oh, boy.
And they were medical coding that you can't even bill for simultaneously on the same bill. So it turned into a fraud case, but I didn't see that one coming. But like you said, there's a whole lot of stuff going on in that regard.
Yeah, and like you said, the COVID situation has only made it more difficult, and the paperwork coming from all different angles. People are trying to fill out paperwork to make sure they're getting coverage and getting reimbursed for expenses. It just seems like a huge clerical nightmare.
It really is. And then, our legislature, we're trying to do the right thing, saying, well, no one's going to make you pay for COVID treatment. But then there's technicalities. You might go to the hospital, get a bunch of tests, think you have COVID, but then it turns out you didn't. Well, guess what? You're paying for all that treatment because you didn't get the positive test. So, there's a lot of niches. All I say is if you had COVID and you're getting billed at all, give me a call. I can try to help you out.
Yeah, because it's simply not. You simply should not receive any hospital bill or medical bill for COVID.
Exactly. Yep. If you did, call me up.
Okay, it's that simple. At least that's one thing we can get across that we can understand a little bit. Hey, Jason, I know that just on a side note, you developed some casino games. Anything going on over there? I just want to check in on that side.
Oh, yeah. No, I have my app. Casino Over Under is in the App Store, and it's licensed. It's a table game I came up with. It's licensed in 3 states. I'm trying to get it into casinos in the United States. Right now it's on an online casino in the Ukraine, so I'm very happy about that.
Right.
And I actually just I have a new company that's about to launch here in a couple weeks for it's a dating site, but it separates Democrats only date Democrats and Republicans only date Republicans, and I think that's kind of funny. But
Come on, man.
For the current time, for our current times that we're in.
Now, what about when the casinos are having to change things? How are casinos? Are they open now in the state? I haven't kept up, but I know before.
Yeah, they're open, but you know what? Everybody's having to modify the way they do things. Right. I mean, they're limited as far as how many players you could have at a table. So as an outside independent game maker, it's always hard to get a casino to try a new game. But now that there's limited space, it's even harder.
Right.
So, but they're open, and I don't know how. I haven't been there. I don't know how well they're doing, but they're trying their best.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Jason Kobal. How do folks get in touch with you? What's the best way, Jace?
Best way, you can come, TampaWorkCompLaw.com is my website, or KobalLaw.net, either one, or call the show.
Absolutely. Check him out. He's on ConsumerQB.com, too. That's Jason Kobal, Kobal Law. When we come back, we got Chuck Peterson from Suncoast Roofing in studio with us right here in the Salem Media Group studios. He's going to tell us about all the hurricane issues we've seen and what he's seen out there. And don't forget about our feel-good story. Brandon wants to make sure you hear about this lady who started out as a janitor, and then she's a nurse now in the hospital, and she's going to inspire you with a good story. So come on back. Consumer QB show rolls on.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647-8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253.
Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
That's right. ConsumerQB.com is where you can find all the partners on the Consumer Quarterback Show and some information about Brandon and the Platinum MVP team that he owns over there with Keller Williams. In addition to that, of course, our sponsors are on the site as well. We got a sponsor named Brothers Easy Moving that's been with us for a little while. I want to tell you about Brothers Easy Moving. Brothers Easy Moving, local and long distance. Whatever move you have, they're going to help you out. These guys are dedicated, man. Brandon moved into his new house, and he said he hired Brothers Easy Moving, and I was helping out. I went over there at 8 o'clock at night. It's dark out. These guys are moving furniture in and out of the house. They will stay with you till the job's done. What a great job they did. And again, these guys say local, long distance, whatever you got, let us know. Now they're the official mover of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Anytime Brandon has a real estate deal that needs a move, Brothers Easy Moving is who you call. So get in touch with them. And, of course, we got a property for you. I think the last property of the show. What you got for me, Johnny? 8001 U.S. Highway 301 South in Riverview, 2 commercial buildings, 4,000 square feet combined with 33 spaces on a corner lot. So it's got a traffic light right on the corner. Really commercial opportunity for you at 8001 U.S. Highway 301 in Riverview. So Brandon's got residential and commercial opportunities for you with the Platinum MVP team. Get in touch with him and find out what you can get out there. 8001 U.S. Highway 301 in Riverview. That's a solid-looking commercial opportunity for you. All right, so back to the show. One of the things Brandon has made a big part of the show is the feel-good story, and I got one for you today about a lady who started out as a janitor in the hospital. And this is a woman. She has a photo she posted online of her work badges over the years to inspire many to keep going. Her name is Jane Andres. She became a nurse practitioner at the same hospital she used to clean a decade ago. She said, "It's tough to be the person that cleans. If I had to go back and do it again, I would, though, because it's so worth it," she told the TV station. She said she was working at a fast food restaurant when Bay State Medical in Springfield, Mass. Gave her an interview. She just knew she wanted to help people. Even if I was cleaning, as long as I was near patient care, I'd be able to observe things. I thought it would be a great idea. And then she worked as a custodian while attending nursing school. She eventually became a nurse at the hospital, and last month a nurse practitioner in the same place she used to clean. 10 years of work, but it was all worth it, she says. "I'm a provider at the same place I used to clean. So appreciative that my story can inspire others. I'm so glad. If it inspires anyone, it's made my journey all the way worth it." So again, that's what we're trying to do, inject some positivity into your day. And Brandon makes sure that that feel-good story is a big part of the show, and I want to do that as well. Chuck Peterson from Suncoast Roofing flies all over the place. He's just back from where, Pensacola, was it, Chuck?
Pensacola week before last.
All right, so yeah. Pensacola, just as Delta was approaching. No, yeah, it was?
Yeah, it was before Delta.
Before Delta, so you went up there after a storm, but another one on the way.
Right, we went after Sally and then before Delta.
So you told me Delta, a little different in that it was heavier rain, less wind than the previous.
Yeah, well, Sally was.
Okay.
But instead of Michael that hit Panama City Beach.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, a lot of rain up there. There's still a lot of damage, but it's not structural damage like we saw for Panama City Beach. But, Pensacola took a little bit of a beating. So,
now,
it's probably, 80% back up and running already.
Right.
So it wasn't quite as crushed up, but there's still quite a bit of stuff to do up there.
Now, given that area, if you talk all the way between Houston all the way to Pensacola, that area just keeps getting pounded all the time. I can't imagine those folks are ready to just rebuild it. They want you to put the extra layer of shingles on or something extra thick.
They want you to get brothers moving up there and move them to a higher ground.
Yeah, I just thought, man,
what they want.
They barely dry out, and another one's right on the neck.
Oh, it's been tough. We moved our guys out the end of last week with Delta coming, and Delta didn't quite go as far east as Pensacola, but it still got rain up there. We still had people calling us about their houses needing to get tarped. But you got to feel for the people in Lake Charles and over there
man.
that just got hit 2 times in 6 weeks and just got to be crushing blows.
How are we doing on materials? Are they getting harder to find?
So it was short before any of these last 3 or 4 hurricanes hit the Gulf Coast. We'd already got emails from all the manufacturers that material was getting short because all the storms we've had this year all over the U.S.
Right.
I mean, Florida really hadn't had anything. We've dodged every bullet this year, and there's been 1,000 storms, it seems like. But the material is short. Plywood, those kind of numbers are going through the roof. We went probably in a 6-week span from paying $22 for a sheet of plywood to paying $34.
Not much you can do.
No, shingles are, we got emails, like I said before, these last big storms, emails like, hey, we're going to cut colors down to, you can get 5 or 6 colors in the state of Florida right now because they're running their plants 24/7. But in order to change over to make different colors, it takes 6 or 8 hours or whatever it might take. And they just said, we're not going to do it. We're just going to run till everything runs apart.
Now, you've been traveling, like you said, you send crews all over the place.
Yeah.
How have your guys been? You're so used to this now, they respond at a moment's notice and head out that way?
Yeah, I mean, well, we know storms are coming. I mean, we've been doing this for years now, right? So, when we know there's a storm coming, we kind of get guys ready to go. We check out with the sales guys who can go and who can't go. We check out with, because we've got offices all over. So now we're trying to we got relationships with a lot of people across the state now, of course, as you would know. So we're calling those guys and getting everybody pre-positioned, more or less, or trying to make sure we can get rooms and that kind of stuff for the production side. That's really the toughest side.
Yeah.
Is getting guys that can actually come do the work anymore because there's so much work out there.
And it's not easy to get to. You guys are talking about remote areas that have been damaged. Roads are hard to get through.
Yeah. I mean, like in Pensacola, they hit that bridge. I know you saw a story where they hit the bridge and closed that bridge. So in order to get to the barrier islands, there's 1 2-lane road in up there, and you had 20,000 people trying to get in and out, and so it would literally take you an hour and a half, 2 hours to go 4 or 5 miles to get onto the barrier islands to go help somebody's, get their roof tarped or, get the flooded stuff out of their house or whatever it was.
Not to mention, you guys need a break in the weather to get up there and do anything.
Oh yeah. When it's we had to wait a couple of days just for the Florida. We went in. They curfewed Pensacola till storm came on like Wednesday or Thursday, and then you couldn't get into the following Monday. So most of the water was kind of gone, and the power lines were already starting to get put back up because they let the utility guys in.
Right.
But even then, it was those first 3 or 4 days trying to get to people. We had a list of folks that had called and trying to get to them, and it was just a wait. Just a wait. And it's tough on those people up there too because they're like, well, you said you're coming. You're like, yeah, but we can't get across a bridge, or we can't get through the town, or whatever it might be.
There's parts around 10 where it's just not. There's just no other ways to go.
No, correct.
Yeah,
you're just stuck.
So all right, that's Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, and he's doing his best to help you folks out there in these storm communities. And we talk about all the different roofing styles. Chuck, we getting ready for hurricane season, and you think like your roof might have a year or 2 left. Have you ever seen someone say, just now, let's just do it now, and so I'm getting ready for the season? Yeah,
I mean, we get people that do that, so we're at the end of the season now, per se, right? But, in Florida, it never really stops raining. It just doesn't, so we get calls, all the time, hey, I got some repairs. Should I repair? Should I re-roof kind of thing? And it's a, financial decision. But, once your roof is compromised and we start repairing it, that big storm comes, it's going to be a detriment for sure.
Have you seen more folks in these areas where you've been, where there's been a storm, they rebuild, another storm comes, they want to go metal, or do they want to try a different technology or something?
No, I will say, in Pensacola, even in Panama City, when they had the bad storm a couple of years ago, the roofs that were put on after like 2000, and I'm saying 15, somewhere right in there, maybe where the last big code changes came into the state of Florida, they all made out pretty well. All things being said, shingles, metal, everything. Now, metal takes the wind the best of any of the roofs we put on.
Yeah.
But the shingle roofs, that were new, they held in there. Up in Pensacola, you literally could drive down the road, and if it was a new house, that roof was good to go, and the house next door was a 1950, had been re-roofed 18, 20 years ago, and it had shingles missing everywhere.
So once it peels back that first one, it starts working them back.
Yeah, yeah. But with, like I said, with the new codes that they have, and they just came out with another new code that takes effect January 1, that makes it even more enhanced roof systems that everybody has to put on. They're really good.
You think that's a result of this particular storm, or you can expect code changes every few years?
Those code changes getting done, and the code change we're getting now is probably one that has been in the works for the last year and a half, 2 years. And they just make it more stringent and better systems. It does make it more expensive for the consumer in the long run, but there again, the roof is probably not coming off in the next hurricane.
Right.
Which is then you don't have to worry about replacing all your family heirlooms that you lost because your roof didn't make it.
Yeah, really, it comes down. Once your roof's gone, your house gone.
Yeah. You're toast at that point.
Now, you talked about the codes in Florida. Are we the strictest?
I would say we are. We're for sure the strictest in the Southeast.
Okay.
With no question. I mean, you can go to Georgia or Alabama or anywhere that's close by, but the two states that touch us, and you don't have to do a third of the stuff that we do to the roofs in Florida.
That tie down, or what's that? It's back in the 4-point, when you get that 4-point and they're looking for that.
Oh yeah, for the hurricane straps. Yeah.
Have anyone beefing those up? Are you seeing any new technologies there?
No, but but they require it if you build a new house now in Florida, where you didn't used to. Where I know in Georgia they don't. Mm-hmm. So if you're in northern Florida, 10 miles over the line, and you get a roof that's much less superior than what we have here.
Right.
Those tie downs are clearly important, and if you have a chance to do it to an older house and can afford to do that, it's well worth the money.
Makes a difference.
Yeah, your insurance goes down, but it really, really secures your roof, because if that big wind comes and gets the corner of that roof and that roof deck starts to move, then you got no chance.
So Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, he's here to help you in all different ways. Chuck, you even got that solar thing. Have you guys done it? Now, you're familiar with solar panels that are elevated on the deck of your roof. Chuck's got a different technique for you. Chuck, tell us about the shingles.
So the panels that we have that are made by GAF, actually, they're called Decotech, but they actually go right on the roof deck. So there's no shingle between you and the solar panel, or no metal between you and the solar panel. It's right on the roof deck, and then we seal around it. So it looks more like a skylight. It sits up off the roof deck, 2.5, 3 inches, and it's black glass, and it just looks like a great big skylight, wherever we put them on. We've been putting on, I'm saying we're starting to really pick up, putting those on around. They've only been in Florida for, I guess, maybe 2 years now. So the technology we have, it incorporates it right into the roof.
Right.
So,
and the GAF, guys, if you don't know about the warranty, tell them, Chuck.
Yeah, so the GAF warranty for your shingles is a 50-year warranty.
50 years.
Right. And if you put the solar panels on with that, GAF warranties your solar panels for 25 in that big warranty.
Wow.
So you literally have a warranty that covers everything that touches your roof, and you really don't have to worry about it after that.
I have not seen a shingle last 50 years.
No.
You can imagine.
Yeah, everybody does ask, is it going to make 50 years? And I'm like, unfortunately, I probably won't be here to test that theory. But
yeah, our sun and wind down here.
Yeah, but I'm assuming GAF's pretty sure, because they put the warranty on, not Suncoast. So it's, if it falls apart and somebody's in that house in year 49, we'll find out.
Put your money where your mouth is. GAF's giving you a 50-year warranty on your shingles. That's an incredible warranty, guys.
Yeah, and it's transferable. So 10 years you sell your house, you just hand the warranty to the next group.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, how you doing in terms of staffing? You guys hiring or looking for people?
We'd love to hire a couple more good sales guys for sure. And if you're in the roofing production business, repair technicians, we'd love to hire some guys. We are
tons of new construction all over the state. I can imagine folks needing roofing.
Yeah, we are clearly short on the production side, but we'd sure take a couple good sales guys as well.
Now you're all over the state too, right?
Yeah. I mean, we have 6 offices around. So if you hear this radio show, we probably have an office nearby.
Chuck Peterson, Suncoast Roofing, doing his best to help you folks out there with all your roofing needs. And they do everything: metal, shingle, tile,
flat deck,
residential, commercial.
Yep, all of it.
I've seen some big jobs. What's that? You had brought a commercial job in here with a big old roof on it. I can't remember.
We've done tons. Of course, we do condo complexes and apartment complexes, big business, strip malls, like a Publix strip mall or something like that. Yeah. Marinas. We've done quite a few, just large.
And out of state as well. Sometimes you never know.
We'll go to the edge of the states. Yeah, we're not running over to Texas where all those guys are at. But if you have a big commercial project, sitting the edge of Georgia or Alabama, something like that, we'd definitely go look at it.
Chuck, what's the best way for folks with a question or just want to know how to get in touch with you?
So our website, right? You can go through that, suncoastroofing.net.
Okay.
Our commercial site is suncoastroofingcommercial.com. They can call any of our offices and ask for me, or they can call the show.
That's right.
They can dial right in.
ConsumerQuarterback.com also has Chuck on there if you want to get in touch with Chuck Peterson, any of our partners. Of course, Suncoast Roofing has been a long-time partner in the show.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thanks for being here all the time. Chuck, make an effort to come right into the studio and share with us because he's driving all over the place all the time.
Happen to be in Tampa.
What a lucky break for us. All right. Thanks so much for listening. This has been another great show. I want to thank all our contributors, Doug Levi, Jason Kobal, Chuck Peterson. And I want you to consider committing a random act of kindness like Brandon always says. Get out there, do something good for someone else. You'll feel better about yourself. And don't forget about our show. We're trying to do the best we can, bring you some value. Check us out online at consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.